Hi everyone, this is Duke with a few videos for this assignment in our multi-rotor autonomy class. So this assignment is called SITL use, or software in the loop use. And we're going to be using Mission Planner SITL functionality to do a few different things. We're going to fly a simulated copter inside of the simulation. We will create and fly autonomous mission, and then we're going to load it and utilize a Lewis script. So I'm going to break this into at least 3 chunks, but I'm going to start off with helping you connect your transmitter to your computer, because we will be able to use our actual transmitter with the simulated copter. So let's go over to the dot cam real quick. There we go. Okay. So similar to any other types of simulators you might use, when you take an EdgeTX transmitter and you plug it into the computer, okay, it gives you a little pop-up on screen. It says joystick, storage, or USB serial. So we want to select joystick with our scroll wheel. You get a little dun-dun on Windows. And you notice I have a model specifically in my radio that's called Sim. You don't have to do that, but it makes it nice if you want to adjust any settings inside the radio for just the simulator, then you can have a separate thing from your other vehicles. In my case, I use a simulator model because I don't have the RF or the radio turned on at all in the simulator model. And so to show you that real fast, we're going to go page over into our setup page. If you go all the way down the bottom, we see here external RF is turned off and internal RF is also turned off. So I'm not broadcasting any radio at all right now. I don't need to because it's just for the simulator. So feel free to do that however you like. Just saves a little bit of battery maybe, and it's not there's no radio broadcast necessary since we're just plugging in directly to the computer with our USB. All right, go back to the home page. There we go. All right, so let's switch over to display capture again. Turn this off. Let's go into our assignment. So the first thing we're going to do inside this assignment is fly the simulated quadcopter, or fly the quadcopter inside a Mission Planner's built-in simulator. So I'm going to go over here to Mission Planner, and I'll get my mouse highlight thing turned on. It never wants to come up when I'm inside. Okay, here we go, when I'm recording. I should get it started before I start recording, but there we go. Okay, so here's Mission Planner. And you notice these tabs along the top. We have data, plan, setup, config, simulation, and help. We're going to go to the simulation tab. And try that one more time. Simulation tab, there we go. And down here on the bottom you see vehicle types. We're going to be simulating a multi-rotor in our class, and that's what we're building with and flying and everything. So I'm going to click on multi-rotor here. And we'll just use the latest stable version here. We don't need to use the dev version. And it will do this download thing, and it will start to basically connect up here by itself. You see the Mavlink connecting, just like when you connect to your actual copter, it's connecting to the simulated copter. So up here, it's already connected. Don't worry about changing any of this stuff. Okay, we're connected to a simulated copter at this point. In this case, my simulated copter is over in the field near the ASTE, just from past demonstrations, but it's a little bit to the west there. Okay, so we'll get all the status messages here, just like we normally would. If you go to messages, we can see there are messages here from the copter booting up. Instead of saying Maytech H743 or whatever your flight controller's name is, it says desktop. That's the name of my computer there. So it's seeing that as the quote-unquote flight controller, and it's getting ready to go. Okay? So this is great. The copter is simulated. We can change parameters, different things like that. Okay, but a lot of those things, of course, you want to be able to fly the copter to test parameters or to control it and try something out. So when you do that, or when you want to do that, you typically can either use the onboard or on-screen controls to fly the copter, or you can use a transmitter as well, a joystick, we'll say, just like we set up a second ago. To do that, you need to go over to Actions, and there's this button here called Joystick. So we'll click on that. We should get a little panel that pops up just like this. Okay. And if your joystick has been recognized by your computer, it will a lot of times pop up here, I believe. There we go. Okay. And then we want to go through and auto-detect our different axes of our controller that will control different channels of the aircraft. Okay. Don't worry about this side over here right now. Just focus on this RC side right here. Okay. So if we remember our channel order, typically on Mode 2 radios, at least of Radiomaster brand or HTX brand, we'll say, HTX operating system. We have RC1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be aileron, elevator, throttle, and rudder. So at a minimum, we need those 4. We're also going to want to do some other things as well with other channels, but we'll focus on those 4 for a second. So on this first one here, this should be channel 1. This should be my aileron control. So I'm going to click auto detect, and then I'll move my aileron control. Like it says here, move your joystick axis. So I'm going to click, after I click OK, now I move the axis. And it's auto detecting that axis. So now it has that assigned there and it's picked X. Okay. If, for example, it's set on something else, let's say it's not set correctly now, it doesn't move when my aileron moves. I go auto detect. Again, I press OK and then I move it again. And now it went back to X. You see that? So it's auto detected that axis. We'll then go to pitch, elevator, and we'll hit OK. Move that up and down. Okay. Next is throttle. Okay, so we'll move our throttle stick. Next is yaw. Move our yaw control there. There we go. There's our 4 main controls. I'm not sure why this is. Oh, there we go. It was just a screen artifact or something. Okay. So at a minimum, we want to do those 4. But it's also nice to make this as real as possible. So on your real copter, you have an arming switch. You want to make sure you have that switch set up in your model on your radio. So if you made a sim model, you'll need to go and add channel 5 to be a switch. Okay. In my case, it's already set up, so I'm going to go ahead and say auto detect. Hit OK. I'm going to flip the switch. You might be able to hear that clicking sound in the microphone, and it's recognized that as RY. Okay. And that is my arm switch. Once you have at least those set up, we might set up some more later, you can press save. You can press enable, and that will enable the joystick to be used as the control for the drone in the simulator. If you don't hit enable, it won't work. It'll be saved, but it won't be useful. Right here, can you see the button says disable joystick if you wanted to not use it for some reason. Okay, so if we go into config now and go into, setup, mandatory hardware, radio calibration, we should be able to move things around on our stick, slice like that, and see the things move just like an actual Arducopter would do. Flip my switch 5, there I arm my copter, etc., etc. Okay. So you have to set this up a little bit in the same way you set your copter up last semester in class. So if you want to use a switch to arm, like I am, okay, you'll need to set that up in your parameters, your config, and things like that. All right. I'm not going to go through all that in this video because you did set that up last semester for your real copter. It's the exact same thing for the simulated copter. Okay, so we'll go into back to our data page here. And actually, let's go back to our assignment. So flying the simulated quadcopter is the purpose of this first video here. Let's go back into Mission Planner. Okay, so the way this works right now, I have set up the aircraft is in stabilized flight mode. I do have control of the aircraft with my transmitter. Okay. And if you go into actions here, you can easily change modes of your copter, even without a mode switch on your physical transmitter. You can say, I want it to be in, let's see, where's loiter? It's not enough order. There you go. Loiter. You say set mode. Okay, now it's in loiter mode right there. Okay. To arm or disarm the copter, if you have not set up an arm switch, you can also use this button here to arm or disarm things. And you can then control the copter with your transmitter. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and arm it. So it's armed. I'm going to now raise the throttle stick on my transmitter. Okay. And we should get some, there we go, altitude starting to climb. 1 meter, 2 meters, 4 meters. Okay. It's not going to show much here because it's just going up in the air. But if we go to one side, you'll see the artificial horizon change. And now the copter is moving across the screen. Okay. If I let off the stick, it levels out. And it's just hovering at 20 meters or so. Actually, my throttle is higher than mid throttle, so it's going to keep climbing. Let's put it down into a mid-throttle hover. Okay. As you can see that it's just kind of sitting there now, 25 meters in the air. It's moved a little bit from its home position, and we can fly the simulated copter. Something that can be useful as well, if you'd like, is this tuning tab down here, or this tuning button. If you click on this, it brings up this little graph. And any of these things up here you can double click on. I know it looks overwhelming, but there's a ton of different things you can show in the graph. I'm going to deselect some things here from what I had before to make it less crowded. Okay. And we'll just leave altitude for now. Okay, and so this is a nice, graphical way of seeing my altitude over time. So if I increase my throttle, this should go up, right, 26, and we also see altitude increasing here. If we descend, same thing, starts to drop down. You can graph whatever you want on this graph just by changing what it has selected here. Okay, so that's a good way to see what's going on there. So now we're flying our copter around. We're just going to zip around a little bit on the map. Okay, and you can see those different lines there. I wonder if my transmitter is reversed. That would be a good demonstration, actually. It is reversed. I'm pushing forward on my pitch stick and we're going backwards. Okay, so let's fix that real quick. We'll go into our joystick settings here. And we go to our elevator. So aileron elevator, we're going to hit reverse and save. See if that fixed it. I should have caught that when I was doing my radio configuration earlier, but I didn't. There we go, now it's fixed. So I push forward on my right stick and the copter moves forward. You can see the artificial horizon is kind of pitched down as the copter pitches down. Okay. Now we can yaw around or move around however we want to. Down here on the bottom we have these different colors of lines. So current heading is red, direct current waypoint is orange if you have waypoints, target heading green, and GPS track is black. And we have that little purple line that kind of follows us and just draws a little squiggle wherever we've been on the simulator. Okay, so we're flying our software in the loop simulated quadcopter around on the map right now. So at a basic level, that's the first part here of the assignment, flying the simulated quadcopter. Okay, let's go back to Mission Planner. Say I don't want it, I'm too lazy to land it myself. I'm just going to hit RTL, and the copter will fly back to its landing or its takeoff spot and land by itself. Okay, and just you can use these buttons over here on copters in real life too. Once we get things working with your telemetry radio, then you can control your copter via buttons within your telemetry radio in certain instances. I have certain requirements in class that you don't just leave your transmitter at home and fly with the buttons, okay, for safety and stuff like that. But you can enact certain activities with the buttons over here. All right, we're going to stop the video there, and we'll see you in the next one.